why do good deals fall apart? I think that is a fantastic topic, and I think we need to look at that because it's all happened to us, and whether we take the blame or push the blame, there's something happening.
Okay.
Right? Welcome to the TNT Real Estate Podcast. I'm Tim Chase with 719 Lending.
And I'm Treasure Davis with the Treasure Davis team, brokered by eXp. You're listening to the TNT Real Estate Podcast, where we keep it real and talk about what actually works in this business. Straightforward strategies, honest conversations, and the kind of guidance that helps you serve at a higher level and close more deals. Welcome back to Partnerships, Purpose, and Possibilities. I am here with Tim Chase, our local partner with 719 Lending. And today we are going to be talking about why good deals fall apart, common deal killers, and how we avoid them as agents and lenders. Tim, welcome.
Thank you. We're at possibilities, partnerships, and apparently problems, because why do good deals fall apart?
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah,
I like
okay.
that. Okay,
So
we're going to get spicy on this.
TNT action, because we have a
This is going to be dynamite.
Exactly. So we have a realtor that
I'm a realtor
that has some opinions.
I have some opinions
And
pointing
we have a
to the
lender
lenders.
that actually has some opinions on this as well.
Okay.
So why do good deals fall apart? I think that is a fantastic topic, and I think we need to look at that because it's all happened to us, and whether we take the blame or push the blame, there's something happening.
Okay.
Right? So why don't you give me a start? Why would a good deal fall apart?
Good deals fall apart because lenders.
No, hold on. Let's not blame the lender right out of the gate. Okay?
No, we're going
straight to the lender.
Yes.
Okay, we're going straight to the lender.
Good deals fall apart because lenders leave the file. They're so busy chasing business that they leave the file until like a week before closing. And then they call the realtor and they say, oh my gosh, this just showed up. They no longer qualify.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. Their debt to income is too high. Well, what have they done recently? Oh, nothing. Nothing showed up. We just didn't look at it, but we won't say that.
We didn't look at it properly the first time.
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
So that's why good deals fall apart, Tim Chase.
That is why. There's a lot of... See how I'm fidgeting now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's getting hot.
So good deals do fall apart because of lenders. Now, I'm going to give you a remedy for that realtors can use. Okay.
I like a remedy.
So a remedy that I would have would be find out about the pre-approval process up front. Okay. And here's what I mean by the pre-approval process. Most people don't understand that a pre-qualification and pre-approval are one and the same vernacular. Like it doesn't matter, right? Like one bank says this, one bank says that. And there's no national standard for what it has to be.
Okay.
Okay. So right out of the gate, everybody has an opinion. Well, we pre-approve people. Well, we pre-qualify people. Go past that. And let's start asking real questions to lenders. So as a real estate agent, if you are referring to, you want to ask to a loan officer, you want to ask a few questions. Number one, do you get income documentation up front before you give me a pre-approval letter on every deal? Okay. Number two, do you run AUS on every single deal? That's your automated underwriting. Do you run it on every single deal? And they're going to say, well, no, we can't on like jumbos and non-QM loans, stuff like that. Okay, that's fine. I get it. There's some outlying things, but do you, as a general rule, run it on everything that could? Okay, great. Do you gather asset documentation? If they have any variable income, any self-employment income, do you have an underwriter with you? Do you have an underwriter review that as well, just to get a second opinion? Because I got news for everybody. There's more than one way to calculate that. They give you one worksheet, but there's a lot of interpretation on how that works. So if your debt ratios are really close, and then ask them. We do a lot of VA, right? We live in a VA. It's my opinion, beautiful loan, best loan out there. Are you calculating residual income on all of your VA? And are you doing all of this before you issue your pre-approval letter? If they've been at their job and they have any sort of bonuses, overtime, commissions that you need, are you doing a written verification of employment and waiting until you get that back before you issue that pre-approval letter. Because that pre-approval letter, that means something if it's done right. That means that we've done it. It doesn't mean that we've solved all the problems that could happen. But what that means is you can trust that when you go out, there's a very, very high likelihood that this is going to close exactly like we want it to, and we just need updated documentation. That's very important. So from a lending standpoint, most lenders don't do that. Most lenders will say, "Oh, I'm experienced enough. I kind of know what's going on." Okay, well, did you know that their income was variable and you didn't do a VOE, so you don't know that it's variable? Does your experience tell you that a 68% back-end ratio on a VA is actually a U.S. approvable loan with the right reserves and you have to run that stuff. You have to be able to run through to get all that. So that would be my very first kind of not rebuttal, but recommendation to a lender of or a realtor, how they can own that situation.
Okay.
Now, let's say you're a listing agent. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're a listing agent. You get offers that come over. You get 5 offers that come over, and you have a VA, you have a conventional, you have a who knows what. You got a, you look at them, and typically, from what I've been told, is realtors like to stack them by loan type and by offer and how best, especially through COVID. It's like loan type matters, and and they start stacking those. But to me, I have a list of questions that I give to listing agents, and I say you need to ask these questions of every single offer that comes over to the lender, and it is basically kind of that, right? As the listing agent, you are properly vetting because now you have a fiduciary responsibility to your client that you're selling their house, that this is the highest and best, and highest doesn't mean best, not every time.
Correct. Right?
So I want to look and say what is the best, what's the highest likelihood of closing, what is our success rate, and part of those questions that I ask is what for a listing agent I put on there is how you want to ask how often or how soon do you order appraisals after is it after inspection, is it before, or is there any chance that that we're not going to get our CTC 10 days early? Like ask these questions and know up front, and then know how to communicate with them. So to me, it's a huge unfortunate problem with lenders, but I believe that realtors can have a little power.
I get an offer, I get a couple of offers. Mm-hmm. Break down the top 3 questions that I should be asking as a listing agent.
Oh, okay.
So tell me the 3 questions as a listing agent that I should be asking.
Okay, here's a couple.
Another lender. No, I asked for 3, but thank you for the couple.
I'll give you all 3. If you're a listing agent, let's say it's an FHA offer that comes over. First off, I would not recommend discounting FHA over conventional. FHA is just a different flavor of ice cream. It is not.
But Tim, the appraisals are harder.
Well, if you have dangerous stairs and broken windows, I can see that. But
exactly.
You said your house is in okay condition.
Perfect.
So you're going to be okay.
Let's go to the 3 questions.
Okay, let's go to the 3 questions. Question 1, let's say in this one, this scenario is an FHA question, okay? So if it comes over and the pre-approval letter says FHA, I would say I see that you get an FHA pre-approval. That's awesome. I think the house is going to be fine with FHA. But I just have a quick question for you on that. If for some reason it had to change, would these folks still qualify for a conventional loan? And the purpose behind that question is I want to know, are we using FHA because we have to? Or are we using FHA because it's the best financial move? It just gives me some perspective.
Okay.
Another question. Let's say with value, appraisal comes in a little bit low. So or before it comes in, I would ask the question, hey, just out of curiosity, I know you said you verified assets and everything, but if for some reason that value, I think we're totally cool on the value, by the way, but if that value comes in just a little bit short, are the clients in a position where they can make up that gap? So what am I doing there? I'm not asking how much money they have. I'm not asking anything. I'm asking 2 things. Number 1, I'm asking, did you verify the assets? Now I know if you verified the assets. And number 2, I'm asking, what kind of financial position are these people in, without asking what kind of financial position these people are in. The third question I would say is the way that you ask if they've gathered documentation. I see that we have our pre-approval here, and I'm just curious, were you able to gather up all the asset and income information? But I would throw a little spin there. Or are you still waiting on a few items? Because I want to make a soft landing for them. Does that make sense? I want to soften that a little bit. Or are you still waiting on a few items? Oh, well, I got a few, but yeah, we are waiting on a thing or two. So, okay. I want to know the pulse on what I'm getting my client into as the listing agent. And that's just coming from a mortgage standpoint. That's the approach that I would personally take on that. So I have a whole list. I think there's 13 questions or something like that, that I think that was a chocolate burp. I have like 13 questions that a listing agent should be asking every single pre-approval that comes over. Because we're not in a time where we're getting 70 offers on a house. Maybe get 3 or 7 or 2. But it gives you the opportunity to at least know what you're walking into.
The fourth question that I would add to that is the realtor put down this closing date. Do you see any reason why you would not be able to hit this closing date?
Absolutely. Yep.
Because so many times once we get to it and we start having issues, then we hear lenders say, well, we were never going to hit that closing date.
What do you mean?
And we were like,
yeah.
Did your agent not call you and give you the date that they were writing in the offer? Were you guys not partners when you wrote this offer? Did you not tell them how much to ask for seller concessions? That's a question that I think needs to be asked up front.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you write a 3-week offer on a manual underwrite, down payment assistance, rehab loan, it's probably not realistic. So the realtor should absolutely align with that lender ahead of time and say, what's realistic? Well, you're using down payment assistance, or it's a 2 or 3K or whatever. Like, let's not do a 3-week. Let's do a 5-week. Or let's
Correct.
do a 6-week. And not that it can't be done in 3 weeks. Of course it can. But what kind of stress and unneeded anxiety are we putting on the whole situation? It's not necessary.
Do you want to hear my biggest pet peeve in real estate?
Well, I'd love to hear your pet peeve.
Okay. My biggest pet peeve in real estate is when deals get pushed even one day.
Really?
One day. My biggest pet peeve in real estate.
Now, when deals meaning the closing date or any date?
Closing date.
Closing date, 1 day. Okay.
1 day, 1 week, 3 days, 7 days. I don't care. When it's pushed 1 day. And let me tell you the reason why.
Yeah.
Because people obviously have jobs. That's how they're able to qualify for the loan. They've taken time off of work. They've scheduled movers. They've scheduled cleaners. They've scheduled locksmiths. They've scheduled things to be delivered. They've scheduled internet to be installed. They've scheduled all of these things
To happen on that day.
Movers or friends coming over for pizza and beer to help them, right? And when it moves 1 day, they now have to spend that day trying to rearrange everything that they've done. So when lenders are like, oh, we just have to push it till Friday, it's like, do you know what you're actually doing to these people?
Yeah.
And the harm that you're causing on them, because they've been, even if they're not proactive, they've been a little bit proactive, right? And they've stopped utilities, they've started utilities, like they're doing all that. And now they have to move all of that for 1 day.
Yeah.
And I just think that it makes our industry look inefficient and ineffective.
So I'd like to mention 2 things. Number 1, I feel like you're raving lenders, but we're going to go back to that in just a second. So my son comes into my office the other day and says, Dad, I got an idea for you. He's working on some video stuff and doing some mortgage stuff. And he's like, you ever ordered a Domino's pizza? He's like, yeah, I've ordered a Domino's pizza. He's like, why don't you have like a full tracker? I said, well, we have the updates and they can kind of see. He's like, no. He's like, I mean like a legit full tracker that even has, you have to do daily notes of what you did on that file every day to where every realtor, because I preach transparency at our office all the time. He's like, the client can see, the realtors can see, within reason, appropriate notes, right? But every single day, something has to be notated of where we're at on that. And you're seeing that tracker go along the whole entire time. And I thought, well, we're very transparent, but that like ups the game a little bit, right? It ups the game. And I think that you blaming lenders is totally unfair.
You know what? I've been talking about that domino tracker for a really long time.
Oh, really?
Years and years and years.
Okay.
Because sometimes when I feel like eating crappy food and I do order Domino's, I watch the tracker.
I cannot not watch the tracker. And when it's
Right.
on my phone, I check it. I'm like, Sarah just put my order in. I ordered it 8 minutes ago.
Or when you order DoorDash and you're watching it drive through.
I'm watching him, and he's over on I-25 getting ready to exit. I'm like, okay, I got about 8 minutes. Oh,
Right.
He made another stop? What is going on here?
And I think we need to have that in our industry because we're in a now industry.
Yeah.
So
And the thing is, a lot of people will say, well, we have that because we do the updates and we give you we kind of have a progress bar we email to you. But I mean like live, like here is your URL for your loan. And by the way, that wouldn't be that hard to build. It's a great idea. If somebody ever builds it in Salesforce, please let me know. I'd like to copy that. So let's circle back though. Closing date. That's your biggest pet peeve. Missing a closing date. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's explore this from a lending standpoint really quickly.
okay.
I know you just looked at the clock, so we're going to go fast here. From a lending standpoint, how would you want it to be if a client is not as responsive as they should be to the lender? Because we have clients pretty regularly. We try to, we paint the picture, we call, we text, like but and usually it goes very fast, very smooth, vast majority of the time. But sometimes I have 2 of them right now that you're just like, come on, we talked yesterday. You said you'd do it tonight. Let's get it going. So normally after a couple of days, we reach out to the agent and say, hey, I need help lighting a fire under this dude's butt because it ain't going to happen. How would you prefer a lender handle that?
I would prefer, obviously, communication, transparency.
At what point, though?
When they said they were going to do it and then they didn't, then giving us a heads up. I think that's because people get busy.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're working full-time jobs. They have family.
Hopefully they didn't quit or take time off to fill out documents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I would say, let us be creative in how we circle them back around. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's an in-person meeting. Maybe it's a meeting at the house. Okay. Maybe it's a meeting where we say, hey, we're looking for these documents. We're going to go take a look at the house and Tim's going to meet us there.
Oh, nice.
Now, it depends on the situation with the house, video stuff, if the house is vacant, all of that, right? And obviously being respectful of if there are people in the house, maybe we meet at a Starbucks.
Sure.
You know, maybe we meet somewhere. We just need to be creative and work with them to getting that done.
But the key to that is you have to have the data, right? Like we have to be able to give you I don't have to tell you every nitty gritty detail on their income, but I do need to tell you, hey, look, we're looking for some documents that we're not getting. And we're gonna be running against this loan approval deadline. Right.
And maybe it's a 3-way chat, right? Which I think we should have on every file so we know what's going on as well.
Yes.
Not that we
have
only
this sporadically, but we should have it on every file.
Not that we need to communicate strictly by text. But I do think that people are looking at text more frequently, and then that gives the agent the ability to pop in if they need to. Yeah. Obviously, keeping out confidential information, all of that, but it keeps us all moving and lets people know what's going on and what we're working on and, what we're coming up against. I think it would be a really good working so they can see what the agent's working on and what the lender's working on simultaneously, side by side to get them through.
I think we're coming with a software idea is what we're doing here. I think that's what's happening.
I don't know. No, thank you. No. Let's just talk about communication.
Talk about communication. So you said your pet. I want to go back to this pet peeve because I really like that that's your pet peeve. And I know you're blaming the realtor or the lender on this.
Oh, I'm not blaming the realtor. I am a realtor. We all stick together.
I don't blame my own tribe. But
yeah, I do not blame my tribe.
The outsiders. So so we get contracts regularly, usually from newer agents, where we have, it feels like they just kind of throw dates on there and then want us to magically meet those dates, not knowing anything about what's going on.
Fair. When they do that and you see it come over, I think that it's your job to go back to them and say, I can't meet this deadline and this deadline. We need to amend that right away. We need to amend that up front.
So maybe go through and say, okay, here's your dates. And so in what we typically do is we just work like psychopaths as hard as we can to meet all the dates and then call you a day before and say, hey, look, we're not going to get our conditional approval today. Your earnest money's deadline is coming up. You're going to need to, but at the same time.
That's when we get into a street fight. So we're trying to avoid street fights.
Avoid street fights. Okay.
We're trying to avoid that. So I think that if they haven't called you and they haven't done it proactively up front, right? giving the lenders the benefit of the doubt, I think, is a good rule of thumb, assuming best intentions. I think when that contract comes over, looking at that and saying, based off what we have going on this side, we need this date changed and this date changed. Can you please amend that?
Would it?
Because it's easier to get that amended up front than to get that amended toward
later,
the end.
when you're in the middle of negotiating inspection issues.
Correct.
Or moving and all that kind of stuff.
Or low appraisals or whatever.
Why else do deals fall apart? Do me a favor, don't blame the lender. Don't blame the lender if the appraisal comes in low. Okay, we did our best. You can blame the lender. It's fine. Why else do deals fall apart?
Deals fall apart because lenders don't get their HOA documents or the special assessments or the financials or the HOA's insurance policy. They don't get all of that early enough. Okay. And that's why else deals fall apart.
Can I rebuttal that a little bit?
No, I just wanted you to know why deals fall.
This is why. You can't say anything about it. But I agree. Okay. And we've had deals where this happens. However, if you're a listing agent and you're listing in a certain community, should you not know that community at a very high level, high enough to know what the HOA CCRs are, what the dues are, who to talk to get the master policy into like a townhome? If you're the listing agent, shouldn't you understand that house well enough to get that ahead of time and provide that? Like, we're talking day one. Like you come in, you get an offer, and you're like, here's your HOA docs. Oh, by the way, you talk to Mary. She's in unit 103 if you have questions. To me, that would make a lot of sense.
Yes.
Right out of the gate.
However, we don't get a copy of the insurance policy, and we don't know if that's underinsured or overinsured.
Why don't you get a copy of it?
It's just not part of any due diligence that we need to do.
Well,
that's based off of your loan type.
Yeah. It is a loan. You're right.
So it's depending on the loan type, if they pay cash or whatever, things change. It depends on where they are in their fiscal period with their insurance. And if it renews, then we're not going to have a current copy of that. And we don't want the other agent to rely just on the information that we're providing. We want that other agent and the lender to do their own due diligence.
I appreciate and respectfully disagree. So here's the thing is you said it perfectly. You don't know what type of deal that is. You don't know if it's an FHA. You don't know if it's a conventional. You don't know if it's cash. Because of that, all the more reason as a listing agent to get all of that up front to me and go to your lender and say, here's our docs. Here's our condo questionnaire if it's a condo. Here's our HOA stuff. Here's our whatever it is. And what does this meet what you guys as a listing agent, does this meet like guidelines for FHA, for Fannie? Are we going to run into any problems? And just have the lender give you a few checkpoints. I actually have a whole handout that I give to people that says, so you're listing a condo. And it's just a checklist of all the things to get as a listing agent before you list the condo. Because to me, I don't want to know 3/4 of the way through a deal if I'm the seller that something's going to blow up. Now some things are out of your control, but I would kind of like to know, like, we can't do this loan type or that loan type right out of the gate if I'm a seller. And so I think that the listing agent doing their job. That being said, doing their job like a professional.
Woo!
That being said, ask me how many times we get that stuff right up front.
Zero. Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't make any sense to me.
That's fair.
It doesn't make any sense.
I can respect that. Being an agent that has had this situation happen. So I had a townhome that when they built it, for some reason, they did the legal description as a condo.
Yeah. The county's really good at
you remember this deal, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, think of it real quick.
Yeah.
Come around to it. And we were under contract. We were getting ready to close. Mm-hmm. And we had 2 listing agents call and say, our deals just fell apart because we cannot get insurance on these. Yeah. And so I was like, that's weird. Maybe it's the lender. Well, sure enough, 2 days later, the agent and the lender on our deal, I was a listing agent on, called and said, we can't get insurance. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I should have been more proactive on this. I called you immediately and I said, what do I do? How do I figure this out? My seller's a military veteran. He's deployed. This is very important that we close. What do we need to do? Do you remember the deal?
Yeah. So
tell us how you fix that in a high level.
Okay. So very
short story.
Very simple short story. Insurance companies right now are not doing an awesome job insuring places. And this goes right now. I'll tell you in a little bit about the current roofing crisis we're having with getting loans done. So you're going to run into this in the next 6 months in Colorado Springs, but we'll stay on topic with this one. So it's the same thing though, is that they are not insuring properly. Now, so what that means is if you have a townhome and they have insurance for whatever, or condo, like they cover so much of the structure, you have so much of a deductible. The HOA has to have so much in reserves to cover deductibles, stuff like that. Now, there's two ways to do it. They can give deductibles per unit, or they can give deductibles collectively over the whole thing. We want deductibles per unit, but sometimes that per unit deductible is too high compared to like their reserves or something like that. And so it's almost like not really, almost in a way, not really fully insured, right? Like if some catastrophe happened, it couldn't really cover it. So in the best situation, you get the equivalent of like a renter's policy, which is an HO6 policy where we basically bridge the gap of what the HOA is lacking and what we need. And that's usually not very expensive. Like maybe another $50 a month or something like that is what you're going to pay to bridge that gap. But then it allows you to buy in there and it's fully insured and ready to go. So that is something that I don't know if you could have, as a listing agent, addressed that really well unless you called other people that have sold in there and said, did everything go okay? You know what I mean? Or get the insurance docs from the HOA, which by the way you can get, and HOAs like to charge you. We're paying anywhere upwards of like $300 for those docs, which is crazy because they usually just give us a link to download them. It would be very hard for a listing agent to do that, but I think the due diligence would be good.
Okay. So. Well, the good news is that Tim did save the deal.
Oh, yeah.
And he actually helped that lender stay on the file. And Tim sent him the information that he needed per VA, because the buyer was VA, to make all of this happen.
To make it work.
So that was really great. Awesome. And I really appreciated that.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Can I tell you one more reason that deals fall apart before we stop?
Yes, you have 2 minutes.
I don't know, but I know it's the realtor's fault. I'm not sure what the details behind it are, but they're up to something. They just, who knows? That's all I got.
I respectfully and disrespectfully disagree.
With that.
Realtors stick together.
They do. Yeah, they're like a little gang.
We are.
Yeah, a little gang. And you collectively feel the same about lenders. It's kind of interesting.
We do. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks for another great episode. I appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you all so much for joining us for Partnerships, Possibilities, and Purpose on our TNT podcast. And we are going to download the links below that Tim spoke about. And you can message us and get those downloads as well if you don't see them here. And we will see you on episode 3.
Right on.
That's it for today. Remember that execution is what moves your business forward. Take one thing from this episode and put it into play. If it helped you, share it with another agent who wants to grow. See you next time on the TNT Real Estate Podcast.
Peace.